So what are the different ways in which a person can enter the job market? I'll take you through that now. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you guys that are new to this channel, my name is Zanele. I've actually gotten a lot of requests. I'm going to jump straight into it. I've gotten a lot of requests to share a video about what are the different ways in which a person can enter the job market. So we've all heard about graduate programs and having to use different agencies in which to secure a job and actually enter the working world. But I am also aware, especially from the feedback that I've received from some of you guys, that it's not quite clear for everybody which are the different ways in which an individual can enter the job market. So if you haven't seen previous videos, I've shared around different qualifications. So there are differences between degrees, the differences between your N6s, the NQF levels, and which vary. And depending on the types of industries and then how they recruit for individuals to then join their organizations, you may actually be looking in all the wrong places for the type of role and the level of experience that you've got for you to then start entering the job market. So I'll share briefly the 5 different ways. So I've clustered them into 5 different ways in which an individual can secure a role in the job market. So I'll start with one of the most commonly known ways. One of the ways is if you're a mid-career recruit or a professional. This is one of the ways you can enter a job market, or one of the ways you can secure a role within an organization. So you'll see even on websites, they will specify between a graduate or an experienced individual. So if you've got a level of experience, they usually look for SMEs or subject matter experts. If they're looking for senior individuals within organizations, so very specialist type roles, usually they would recruit for mid-career recruits, or what they would call professionals. These are individuals who already come with experience. So they would have already penetrated the working environment, whether it's corporate or it's industry, whatever industry or sector it's in. These are individuals that would have gained a level of experience from a different organization or different organizations in the past. These individuals could either go through recruiting agencies, sometimes they're headhunted, sometimes they go via the websites like graduates would as well to apply for the vacancies or the roles that they're looking to get into. So mid-career recruits, or more commonly known as professionals, is one way an individual can then secure a job within an organization of choice. So the second way is through graduate programs. So a lot of companies actually have graduate programs in place where they go out and recruit individuals that are fresh out of tertiary and put them into the system through a graduate program. So whether it's a 2-year, 3-year program, in some institutions, some organizations actually for even 5 years, where a structured program is put in place for that individual to then integrate with the organization or business. So I'll speak to something I know of and familiar with is an engineering and training program where an individual will start out, whether you're spending 6 months in operations and you're working shifts, the next 6 months is structured with artisans or engineering workshop teams. The following year you spend on projects or you're working on maintenance and utilities, but there is somewhat of a structured approach. They allocate a buddy and there's a buddy system to integrate and help you familiarize yourself with the culture within the organization. In some instances, you're allocated a coach or a mentor to also help you along your way on your graduate program. So these tend to be structured programs. They've got them for different fields or functions. So whether you're in marketing, in finance, in engineering, so there are graduate programs for engineering. And that's one of the ways in which you can enter an organization, grow within the organizational culture, and as an individual you can decide if it's a culture that resonates with you and your values, you stay on quite often within the organization and grow into more senior levels. Other individuals do then move around to other organizations to gain further experience in that way. And this could potentially be a candidate who started off as a graduate in one organization station through the graduate program and then become a professional and get recruited as a mid-career recruit in other organizations. In some instances, for some organizations, an individual who's entered through a graduate program is from the onset a permanent employee. For others, they actually put on probation for the 3-year period and not necessarily guaranteed that at the end of the graduate program they then form part of the permanent structure. In some instances there is a selection program because it is quite competitive, but most cases once you've entered as an individual within an organization through the graduate program, you then stay on as a permanent feature within the organization. A third way in which you can infiltrate an organization is through their bursary programs or sponsorship programs. Some organizations do offer bursary programs where they sponsor an individual through their schooling. So when you're in tertiary, you're studying for your undergraduate program, even postgraduate programs, and once you've completed your program, there are terms that are signed off, and this is the difference between a bursary and a sponsorship. Whereas with the sponsorship, usually there's no obligation to pay back. Whereas the bursary, some individuals need to pay back in terms of years or commitment or hours worked within the organization. So if you had a 4-year program and they sponsored you for the 4 years, as an example, you may then need to work for that organization for 4 years after you've completed your program. Some individuals, they might find this is a bit binding, it takes away a bit of freedom, but for others, it's a level of security because you know that after your program, you then have employment within an organization. So bursary programs are also another way in which a person can enter. It's not always guaranteed that you'll be a preferred candidate. Some institutions, even after a bursary program, may decide that actually we're only going to consider the first or the top 3 individuals that have passed with great grades for them to join the organization, and the rest you're actually free to then explore other companies and other organizations. Quite often it does occur, it does happen that an individual then ends up working for that organization. Another way in which you can infiltrate or penetrate an organization is through internships. So internships are there for training purposes. Usually it's for the individual to come and learn and train, whether it's through shadowing a person or you work on really small controlled projects, and through that experience you can always take it back to another organization. How it helps is that the organization then familiarizes itself with you and you familiarize yourself also with the organization. So if there are vacancies that come up, instead of going out into the job market looking for new recruits, they might actually already have you who've done a great job. Even through your internship, you've delivered excellent work. Usually with internships, they come with very, very minimal pay. Obviously within legal means, it is for training purposes. It is one of the ways in which you can infiltrate yourself and try and enter the organization and start networking so that you can make a name for yourself, so that your first choice whenever an opening becomes available. And last but not least, somewhat similar to internships, is through learnerships and apprenticeships. So this is for learning purposes, and it's structured in that an individual goes into a formal setting for learning, whether it's at the college or TVET or it's at a training center. Then they come into the workplace, and in the workplace are exposed to certain tasks for a duration of time, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year. Most apprenticeships are 4 years, but then you're either in the workplace, then off at the training center, back in the workplace, and so on and so forth. And with learnerships, you're either there as a learner for about a year. Usually these are government supported, so there are rebates for organizations for you to actually form part of their learnership programs or apprenticeship programs. So it is a way for you to also integrate and form part of that organization. May not necessarily guarantee a permanent position, but similar to an internship, they then familiarize themselves with you. Some organizations actually have that as a feeder scheme or a pipe fill for recruiting. So individuals come through an apprenticeship program. Once they've completed, they actually then get selected to become permanent employees within the permanent structures. So the 5 ways in which an individual can enter job market, not mutually exclusive and they're not exhaustive. There are the ways in which an individual can penetrate and enter the work or job market. Leave your comments below if there is another way in which you're aware of that we can learn from, in which an individual can enter the job market. In my next video, which I'll share very soon, I will share different ways in which you can search for and actually secure jobs. I know when many of us are familiar with the difficulties in securing employment in South Africa, and I do feel that it's worth sharing information and insights that I do have and how it can make it a bit easier, especially with the right qualifications and skills in finding employment in the country. The thing is, there are organizations that have got vacancies. Yes, there is AI in the 4th Industrial Revolution warranted, but does add value just to share for individuals that may be interested in different ways in which one can actually seek employment. Share this video with anyone that you feel might gain value from it and may be interested. And remember to live your best life, learn as you grow, and lead for change sharp.